Okay, so we are on lesson 7-5, which is solving number stories. And this is all about multiplying fractions by whole numbers. And so pages 240 and 241 in your math journal, and right here on this template. So let's see. We're looking at this one problem for number one, which is also connected to problem four. So I'm going to go do problem four in a minute here, and you all will do problems one, two, three, and some other problems on the next page. So here's how this problem sets up. Each member of the flute section, let's see if I can get a pointer going here. Each member of the flute section of the Briarwoods Elementary School Band practiced for 2 3/5 hours last week. So let's go ahead and underline that. So it's a member of the flute section. So they have all the players who play flute in one section. And they all practiced last week for 2 3/5 hours. And how many of them are there? Well, there are 5 of them. So 5 flute players. What's the total number of hours that they practiced? Okay, so that's what you're going to be working on with problem one. So I'm going to go on to the next page because problem four is an interesting problem, as is this one. And if you can do problem four with me, then you can understand problem one and also problems two and three. So let's go over to page 2. So now they're talking about the trumpet section for problem four. So the trumpet section of the band has 3 more members than the flute section. So that flute section had how many? Well, let's go back to it. The flute section had 5 flute players. So obviously 3 more is going to be 8. So we're going to be dealing with 8 somewhere along the way. Each trumpet player practiced for 1 9/10 hours. And then the question is, circle the question or maybe highlight it. I don't know, circle, underline. How many hours did the trumpet players practice in all? Well, okay, how many of them are there? Well, there's 8. How many hours did they practice, each of them? Well, they each practiced, let's get back to the right color. They each practiced 1, 1, and 9/10 hours. So there's a couple ways to break up this problem. You could break it up like so, because it's kind of hard to do 8 times 1 9/10, but we could break it up into something like 8 times, and then what is 1 9/10? Well, it's simply 1 plus 9/10. Okay, and that gives us a way to solve the problem. We could do 8 times 1 plus 8 times 9/10. So why don't we write it that way? So we're going to go 8 times 1. Well, that's an easy one. Plus 8 times 9/10. And we learned how to do problems like that. Okay, so break out your calculators. 8 times 1 is 8. No problem there. And then 8 times 9/10. Well, that's a little bit harder, but we can do it. It's 8 over 1, which is the same as 8, times 9/10. So, which is just the same as 8 plus, what's 8 times 9? 72. 72 over 10. Wow, we can't let that stay like that. So we're going to have to bring that one out to the side. So 72 over 10 is the same as 72 divided by 10. So 72 dividido por 10. So divided by 10. We put our 10 over there. How many times does 10 go into 72? Well, I know I can get rid of 70 by just doing 7 times 10. And then we have a remainder of 2, which is going to be 2 tenths. So 7 and 2 tenths. And then we have that plus the 8. So 8 plus 7 and 2 tenths is going to be how many hours that the whole flute section practiced in all. And so altogether, it's going to be 8 plus 7 is 15, 15 and 2 tenths hours. So we're going to write that in, 15 and 2 tenths. So my work showed 2 different ways to solve this problem. Well, okay, here's one way right here. And we could have just multiplied and done the 8 and then oops, that's going to be a plus sign actually. Yet another mistake. It happens all the time. So going back to the pen, it's going to be 8 times 9 tenths, which is that 72 over 10. 72 over 10, yuck. Which winds up being, if we do all that work again, it would wind up being 15 and 2 tenths. So that's the one way to show it. And then the other way is the way that we worked out over here, where we split up everything, and so we did all this here. Okay, so 15 and 2 tenths hours, right? Well, now they ask, how many minutes is that? Well, how many minutes in an hour? Let's try a different color here. So obviously there are 60 minutes in an hour times 15. And then we'll do 60 times 2 tenths. And those two are going to be added to each other. There's a lot of work on this problem. Aren't you glad I did it? Anyway, 60 times 15. Well, I could do 60 times 10. See the 10 there? And then add 60 times 5. So I'm going to do that in my head. So 60 times 10 is 600. 600. 60 times 5 is going to be half of that, so it's going to be 300. So you can see that this is going to wind up being 900. But what about the 60 times 2 tenths? Well, let's do it. 60 over 1 times 2 tenths. 60 times 2, well, 6 times 2 is 12. So 60 times 2 is going to be 120. 120 over 10, 120 divided by 10. Well, what times 10 equals 120? 12. So if you can see that this one equals 12, okay, and then we're going to bring that over and add it to the 600 plus the 300. So this is all going to be 912 minutes. 600 plus 300 is 900 plus 12, 912 minutes. Now they're asking, whoa, boy, that's really ugly. 912. I got to erase that. Sorry, group. I know this makes the video longer, but you got to do what you got to do. Got to be neat, or kind of neat. Anyway, see if I can make a nice, neat 12 here. kind of. Okay, so anyway, 60 seconds in a minute, right? So 912 times 60, 912 times 60. Boy. So let's just, for 912 times 60, let's show a little work over here. Let's use a rectangle. We'll just make the 60 go up here and make it 912 on the side. So 912. So the whole side is going to be 912. But let's split it up a little bit. Let's do like 900. So make this 900 here. 900 times 60. Lots of zeros. We like those. And then the 10 and the 2 to make the 12. So there's the 10. There's the 2. 60 times 2, 120. Should probably use a different color, but oh well. 60 times 10, well, 6 times 1 is 6, and then the 2 zeros. Yep. And then the hardest one, 900 times 60. Oh my goodness. But the only thing you need to see is 9 times 6. Look at your math journal, do a times table, do a calculator if you have to. 9 times 6, 54. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3. 3 zeros. So 54,000. So if we add those numbers up, that's how many seconds it'll be. So 54,600, 720. 54,000. Oh boy. 54. Yow. 54,000. Then the 600 plus the 120 is 720. 720. That really is a 7 group. Maybe if I make a different color, it'll work. $720. 54,720. It's a lot of work, but that's a lot of seconds. Okay, so if you can do this, you can conquer the world, at least for now. So use this as an example for how to do all the other work on the other pages. Now problems like 5 and 6 on here don't look so hard, do they? And also the other problems. Number 1 isn't even as hard as this one. So if you need to, replay the tape, replay the video to see how I did this one. Or you can check in with me at 1 o'clock if you have questions. Good luck out there. Bye.